Washing machines do not represent one's sophistication, because that's called prejudice. No, these doodads are the height of technological advancement, among the ranks of the extension cord and Velcro Heelys. What they truly are remains a complete mystery. I mean, ask anyone you know and they'll shed tears. The unknown permeates everything we humans can perceive. Fear not, for I have come along to shed light on this dire circumstance. No longer shall we live in fear of what we do not know, and together we will overcome the scourge of the washing machine. If you have come for irritating discourse, tough luck, because I am using Dark Souls 2 to make sense of the complexities of this tesseract, and there is no room for grievances for something of such importance. Here are the criteria. Capacity. The bigger the load, the harder they fall. Water flow. To actually wash with. Mechanism. To make sense of the void. Heat. Because that shit is straight fire. And the one thing that makes something a washing machine, the only thing, spin. We will be ranking these percentage-wise, and progressing chronologically through an otherwise ordinary playthrough to present each case, area by area. We spawn inside of a gazebo upon startup, and while it is circular, it isn't quite enough to warrant bestowing the title of Scourge of Mankind. I very well could just spin the camera and, wow, that really is enough to make something a washing machine. Stipulating this outcome is the late great Tommy Wiseau, stating the most important thing you will ever hear.
Ooh, I like spin. Do you know that, Aaron?
Why? You look stupid.
Because it's fun, that's why.
Nearby is a waterfall that doesn't fully load in, but what is no matter. If you consider for but a momentum that hydrodynamics creates a vortex, I can spin the narrative to further my own interests. But wait! You haven't said yet, since I haven't shown you how the power system works. How does it add up to 100%? You also haven't said that yet, and yeah, there's actually a fifth essential ranking criteria that I had to remove from the intro to make room for nothing that actually mattered. Future me, I went back and changed that. You're welcome. This additional consideration is heat. Once I have fucked up the character creator beyond belief, we can pick our poison. I picked the chandelier, since it looks like it could spin. Now that I know exactly what a washing machine is, the formula itself completes. 30%. I sincerely hope that the previous entry has established the subcompartmental gymnastication required to make this pilgrimage even possible. I would also like to address this as soon as I can, but if you thought I was going to include women in the rankings, then I recommend you eat dirt until failure. Thankfully, my game is still totally fucked from the last time I was here, and everything is Leningrassed anyway. Speaking of Leningrad, he was unable to hide his pizza cutter from the state, and if I am not mistaken, that bitch spins. As we have already established, that already makes it a washing machine. In fact, there are two in here, but tragically Lemongrass is a fraud and does not possess a slack tub for quenching my thirst for a decent pump inlet. Speaking of mechanism though, I can point out some pretty cool looking baffles that will rend the seam of any clothing item. Interestingly, this barrel makes for an excellent drum and or basket, depending on if it is the interior or exterior of the unit, i.e. this here chest. If there was somehow a way to implement the pizza cutter by inserting it into the chest and using milligrams structural roping to cobble it all together, and then set it alight with the bonfire, then throw it into the ocean, I think that would make John Bosch roll in his grave at 560 RPM. 55%. Goblin's abode abides about a bridle's waste of room but remain seated, I tell you. Here we find two remarkable units, where as we can see, the clothing items go in the back here, and beyond that, science is yet to pioneer its breeches. Tragically, there is no spinning element if you exclude the electrons encircling every atom we behold, but just feast your behold upon this heating element. It's a dedicated furnace that probably heats up whatever has found its way inside, whatever the hell this even is. Beside it are what appear to be several buckets worth of powdered detergent likely bought in a bulk sale at Mr. Price. And this shield, porthole door, although one of the units has already implemented its own cover story. Straight to hell with this one. 15%. Wrapping up Majuli is something that in my mind comes close to what I believe to be the truth behind washing machines. Upon first inspection, it is an unseemly hole, and upon further inspection, it really is just an unseemly hole. I would look inside if it wasn't so fucking inconvenient to do so, since I had to jerry-rig the lighting engine mod to use a camera to begin with. Once we, cause I'm blaming you, muster the wherewithal to somehow tilt the camera, beheld. This is a pulley, and is part of the list of components in every modern washing machine since the 1890s. The spin pulley is rigged to the rotary belt, powered by either crank handle or motor, in this case the former, and spins the transmission axle to create a typhoon of sophisticated engineering. Or a rock. in this case. When you consider the pool of water at the bottom, one could conceivably create a process whereby the clothing is put in this bucket and the detergent supplied by Len and John is mixed in, then repeatedly dropping the load into the stagnant well juice and hoisted back up. I trust this has eased your quaking uggs, no? 40%. Between the former and latter half of the next 200 meters of my life, we find an astonishing example of the concept of spin. With the power of magic, this room completes a staggering 0.16 rotations per one single time. Oh, that's not spin. The power of divine commissions can oscillate the room at 0.08 rotations per whenever, but that isn't spin either. As I said, that's oscillation. The spiral staircase is cursed by the fact that staircases must end at some point. Wait a second. So must wash cycles, judging by the analytics I've researched on these elusive mechanisms. Well, there you have it, and to distract you from whatever that was is this pulley-operated sliding door with plumbing, providing a water intake and outlet, and if you so please, these torches provide a heating and drying function that is slightly better than ambient evaporation. 65%. From here on out, there aren't as many case studies per area, if any at all sometimes. Hades Tower genuinely has fuck all, but not all hope is lost. The Dragon Rider succumbs to the power of spin, so we are off to an auspicious beginning. Oh no! There isn't any rotating aspect! Wrong, this chandelier sure does look like it could spin if given the chance, and my headcanon says that it somehow uses ball bearings to spin infinitely to conform to my argument. The ocean is directly underway, not brisk. Good salinity. Wow, holy moly, these levers that require a human sacrifice sure do have the ability to change nothing about how this machine works, but man is it cool. There is also no shortage of heating elements, even if they are far away, but I think the airflow will do a number on the drying. I could add that as a bonus ranking that I'll never use again. I heard that some of these mysterious machinations are also a dryer. A dual function. Amazing it is. Yeah, fuck it. 50%. The first visible object in No Man's Wharf is this enormous hanging whatever that looks like it might spin. I'm not in the mood to review it though. I am in the throes of the greatest disappointment I have ever felt. While I was researching for this video, I found this awesome crank-operated barrel washing machine that is just the coolest. For about 0.1 seconds I felt an elation like no other.
Wow.
Quickly followed by an interminate abyss.
Oh, it's not even crank power. This is all for nothing.
They were this close. Just add a handle for fuck's sake. Oh well. Instead, let's recontextualize this harbor crane into whatever we damn well please it to be. This is spin. I don't see a ratchet nor crank anywhere nearby, but I'm absolute certainty it will spinning once it gives a go. It seems to either be powered by or powering the rope on the pulley system, giving it a limited rotation count, but we have already established that everything has finite rotations. Very cool. Heat source? Over there is something maybe, I don't know. As for the water source, good luck smelling like brine for the rest of your life. 40%. Inside the ship we find something rather unique. So far everything has been beyond normal reasoning or a disassembled unit, but this is compact and complete. In fact, it's ornate. Elegant, even. Immediately apparent is this crank handle on the side, which serves as the power source. It connects to this bevel gear transmission that powers a much larger gear. Granted, this ratio reduces rotation speed, but then it transfers power to what can only be called an armillary. Now that is spin. Point that spin at me. It's not doing that right now, but I can forgive this. On top of the armillary rings appears to be a funnel for plumbing. Just below that on the main body is a dial. A fucking dial. This blue crystal must then be the heating element, which I can prove by the fact that this fire is also blue. Swagnificent. The compact top-loaded side crank handle gear transmission armillary meth crystal Bosch Supreme unit has topped the charts. For now, 80%. Limited understanding of one's environment can either be the easiest or most terrifying way to live life. Allow me to apply my experience here. As you can see, this kind of looks like a circle with water going around it. Conclusion! This is clearly a vortex that'll centrifuge your precious silken robes and toss them downstream. Beyond that, I don't really know. Perhaps that ogre has stored the textiles between the great folds of skin he has so carefully cultivated in order to generate heat for a deep clean. Maybe that can be construed as a mangle or wringer that squeezes the water out of the fabric. Sure, yeah, that works. 40%. The rest of the level has few potential candidates that all sadly fall flat. The chamber of 100 geckos has an extraordinary source of heat, and we already know that these amphibians like to irritatingly turn on an axis when fighting them, but that's all this thing has to offer. even the elevator pulley can't save it. Between the giant and pursuer is very close to being deemed a laundromat, except they're top-loaded units and that just doesn't work. It gets so desperate that I try my own hand at spinning inside the elevator in a harebrained scheme to make sense of anything. And last giant, no. That may be a hole up there, and maybe if it had a jaw to chew with and saliva to wash with, it could be compared to what is called a fulling machine that beats the dirt out of clothing. Also, I didn't know it had an ASDF attack. Right, as I had already lost hope long before the Pursuer arena reminds me of the ballistas that I had seen beforehand. This is a wheel. Spin. Ballistas operate using pulleys and belts. Mechanism. The lever and ratchet can be the motherboard, why not? The sunset over the coast may as well be the heat source and water flow. And there we have it. I was getting quite upset, but Forest of Fallen Giants has finally revealed a washing machine to us. 45%. Pompeii by Bastille kicks off with a dense array of everything we've seen so far, with the exception of the blacksmith getting into the washing machine on his own. What a silly goose, I don't think that's right at all. In here we see the top-loaded units from before, the spinny pizza cutter, a torch somewhere in the corner next to a porthole door, and the distinct lack of a slack tub for quenching again. But no matter, if I were able to open the chest and make note of the inner workings of this thing, then I would be content. But I will just have to make do with the concern and knowledge that this poor man had put himself on for a 1200 RPM cycle. We must be getting close now to what a washing machine actually is. That isn't the end of this little spot though. Very close by is this environmental hazard that isn't working right now. Whatever, I shall instigate it myself. This unit is dual optimized, as in it can go from a side loading to top loading after giving it a good wash cycle. As it stands, I can turn it into a side loading unit again, with the catch being that you not only have to activate it with a kickstart, but kicking it around is pretty much the only way to keep it moving. I can't tell if that's innovation or regression. Either way, the heat source comes from getting some other guy to smash it to bits and blow the nitroglycerin lining. 20%. You don't get the rankings this time because I want this page to fill out nicely. Of the script, I mean. I might do it in post. I mentioned laundromats earlier, which are these legendary chambers filled to bursting with endless corridors of washing machines, stacked higher than the limits of our imagination. This rack of 3 units got me thinking. Urethra! This has to be a laundromat of legend. Rows of identical washing machine units stacked higher than 2, but less than 4. In other words, outside of your conceptive abilities. Rather tragically, I ended up having to break a row or 2 in order to preserve the rest from the perils of spontaneous human kombucha, but there are enough specimens remaining to show you all the glory of the laundromat. That is all it has to offer, really, and I didn't make my criteria vague enough to warrant points for being cool as fuck. Ha! Yes, I did, in fact, because this is straight heat. 45%. The ginormous hole in Majula has always perplexed me. Now it'll perplex you. Really, it's just the largest rotary drum of all time that can maintain the load of probably the entire nation of Drang Lake. Or kingdom, whatever. I'll call it a people's democratic state the same way only the most democratic countries use that title. Either way, that analogy was pointless, since what I'm actually reviewing is slightly off to the side in the Grave of Saints, with all these ratas. Circular room means a circular movement. Obviously, but the actual kinetics is performed by either the player character or the rats running in circles. There's poo water aplenty, and I'm sure grinding up these bones will provide a more than alkaline pH to soak this bitch up. As for heat, oh boy yeah, and bottomed pit has more than enough rising thermal to stink this bitch up. As far as engineering goes, yeah, I don't think that standard gets lower than it does here. 50%. Things are getting a little weird, but hear me out. Venom emerges from these tar pit thingies that, with enough headcanon, are thick and soapy. The symbiote grabs me and eats me, swinging me around. Potentially, it could spin me as long as it wanted in a heartfelt waltz. Furthermore, I can light us both on fire in a true expression of love, because what manner of thing could be more romantic than mutual immolation? 35%. A rather unconventional entry, if such a thing is even possible, is the rotten itself. This room is dotted with pools of a substance of some sort of wet that are simultaneously on fire. If fire is wet, then the water is hot, no? As far as components go, I'll just chalk this pile of corpses up to being the wad of clothes, encased by the interior basket, and these chains signify the prison you have given your washing machine. When that thing walks, it's not due to centrifugal force. That thing is trying to escape. Spin, however, is not so non-simplif. The boss itself demands a near endless rotation in pursuit of its backside to land a safe hit. That is spin. Any questions? You thought that was unconventional. Just look at this! We all know that sand, if you've made correspondence between a brick and your own head enough times, is a liquid. This here is a quicksand pit, one could infer, which in reality are liquid mud sumps. One fish and dance later and I have concluded exactly what you're in fear of me concluding. So there's our water source. Probably. Spin is, well, it's probably spinning in there. Components-wise, it's about as prehistoric as it gets. No, sorry, no. It's about as Brussels as it gets. But the heat is real, boy. 60%. Okay, fine, here's a genuine example. That prior entry in No Man's Wharf was our single best candidate for position of Supreme Bosch. Yeah, it has returned. It is significantly smaller than beforehand, but it still has all the same components due to it being the same asset. The hand crank, the bevel gears, etc. One might think that the size is a huge drawback, and that is absolutely correct. In terms of capacity, it could wash maybe a single sock. Who knows? That might be a... Oh, this market has been jeopardized already. While we're in this room, check out this gyroscopic toilet that I reviewed in the previous game. That might be a more worthwhile endeavor for washing your items, TBH. 65%.
Hold on a second past me. There couldn't possibly be anything of note in Skeleton Lords.
Shut the fuck up, current me. Thousands of bones are marinating in this pool of water, meaning it's soapy. Bones. Thousands of bones have been set alight, meaning this fire is heating the water. Thousands of bones make the shape of this room hard to make out, but this building is circular, I assure. The tip of the spear is phase 3.62 of the fight, where boner wheels debut. I don't think I need to tell you why that seals the deal. 45%. While we're in the same area, let's talk about Executioner's Chariot. Now this is spin. For whatever reason, the boss entity is completely invisible, so I can't even show you the magnitude of RPM in play here. Thank fuck I don't have to face my fear of horses again. The arena is ovoid, and that leads to terrible imbalances during rotations that rip reality apart. If you've ever seen your washing machine walking, you know exactly what I mean. The heating elements are omnipresent, but without a solid source of water, there won't be much washing going on. As a dryer though, this would be extremely effective, but there will be no bonus because it doesn't even wash. 60%. I couldn't get very good footage of the skeletons enacting their adorable moveset, so I went back a bit. I'll show you some of it. I wish they did that hilarious windmill projectile maneuver like they do in the other two games, but they do roll. No, hold on. Yeah. Alright, I got it. Okay, I get it. Yeah, no, I got it, man, I got it. Alright, see you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Right, I should get back to... I know. Yeah, okay, bye. This guy I flattened earlier was just describing to me the origins of their martial arts. A little further ahead in Harvest Valley is this corpse-strewn gully full of bones. I don't like bones. They are surrounded by this cart. And its wheel. These skeletons are doing cartwheels. I'll count the cart as the washing machine in question. There used to be water flow, albeit in the form of disgusting-ass green slime, but I recorded this after I burned the windmill, and I don't care if that's spoilers. Besides, I bet that ooze was pretty warm too. Fuck it. While we're at it, let's lump in all invaders. They all roll around rather annoyingly, and some probably have spinny attacks that I'm not arsed looking for. 50%.
This could be a washing machine if you really think about it, because it's I'm losing my mind.
What horrible manner of thing has happened to my engine to bring me to this point is up for interpretation, but I am about to try to convince you that Covetous Demon is... yes, a washing machine. The room is circular, so that's a good start. Spiral staircase. Erotic backlighting, and green LED strip. He's a pick-me boy. So far, so good. I started recording halfway through because I realized that it, too, spins when it flops over. I didn't catch that on film though, so I'll have to add it in post or some shit. I'm definitely adding the washing machine attack in post, because fuck yeah, you get vored and your clothes and weapons stripped and rinsed all the while the unknown forces of angular momentum rend your flesh. 60%. I'm certain that whenever the viewer grasped the significance of rotation, whoever they were thought, oh, this windmill, or whatever, wherever it spins is due to this array of gears that are powered by some other shit, wherever it is I wasn't managed to find. However, I can bring that all to a halt by holy shit, look at all that spin! The entirety of Harvest Valley is farming that aura them kids are speaking of. 41 or some ever, I don't know anymore. The bottom of Berth and Tweak is engulfed by the grossest liquid I've ever seen, which is pumped up through these cast iron pipes, and lighting the entire system on fire both heats the and disintegrates it, leading to a cessation of rotation since you can't finish a wash cycle if it never ends, right? Premium, 75%.
This is the weed nug that you left in your pocket and now it's destroyed forever. Now this is what it looks like before, this is what happens to it. Just flattened.
Originally this was supposed to be a shower review, but I thought... Did you hear my jaw pop there? Jeez. But I thought that would be boring. The video has long since gone off the deep end, so I present to you a shower. Bosch doesn't want you to know this, but if you simply wear the clothes you want to wash, or hold them, it doesn't matter, turn on the shower, like such, and follow this up with incessant rolling, you have essentially achieved peak performance. I gave this a try and it hurt quite bad, as I wasn't wearing any clothing, having eaten it all to death. I decree that you must follow suit and become a washing machine too. 25%. I won't be ranking Smelter Demon because this guy is a dryer, disqualified, and sentenced to death. He has a decent capacity and is very mobile, which is relevant since washing machines like to walk. Escape, rather. I feel like this would be applicable if somehow this boss was blue. How on earth will this lava castle pay for plumbing maintenance when its leadership has crumbled and they no longer pay their workers? The lava, dumbass. This is a hot liquid. Any more thinking beyond that would be dangerous-y. By my own deduction, the clothes are lowered in with these chains and lifted out elsewhere once they are incinerated. Don't care. This is straight fire. Ah! Unfortunately, I don't see any way to cease the rotation, so whatever you put on cycle will be stuck there forever. Not that it'll last more than a few seconds anyway. 50%. Wrapping up Iron Keep is the man himself, John Ironkeep, who I guarantee had a more supple behind than you could ever have imagined. No idea how this happened, yet it gives me a concerning sense of deja vu. This hot-ass water makes the beach episode worthwhile as we spin and spin and spin and explore each other's bodies off-screen. Percent.
This is straight up detergent, because I've been drinking it for the entire game, so obviously that's what it must be.
There are several of these portal yolks throughout the game in different circumstances. I chose this one in the forest because it's in a lovely little gazebo thing. If these snakes were in Ouroboros, it really would be spin. Alas, the compromise is to gaslight yourself into believing that they're rotating around the bowl. A bowl full of replenishing and back-rolling water, denoting in and outlets. No idea what this bright thing is, although it might be a heating element. Yes, I have decided that is what it is. Honestly, just the roiling water makes for a decent wash. 55%. Like the previous entry, you can enter this washing machine and be transported to some sort of pocket realm. Just make sure your backside isn't hanging out the porthole door lest you end up on a pop-up ad. Boat Machine Grandal provides us with a prime example of the public washing machine dynamic. I call this a laundromat since you have to go to all 3 of his dead drop plug spots before he lets you pay your way into washing whatever it may be. The service commences, and the portal, or should I say, porthole, winds itself with energy that will cleanse your wardrobe of the clothing items themselves. Anything that goes through the portal gets drenched in a black slimy tar that not even this waterfall can wash off. This transgression warrants a minus rep. Time to drown in the pool shed.
Turn you into a top-loaded washing machine. If only.
Drang Lake, my nuts, one would think, should have specimens aplenty. In fact, if there was only one single one in the whole People's Democratic State, it would be here. But Anorondo had terrible toilet variety, if you recall, and here is much the same. There's nothing of note. The gates are opened by these washing golem machines who, like real-life ones, require souls to move their pots like 30 degrees. You could oscillate this, but that's not spin in the slightest. Then there's this elevator right before the embedded guy. The column has a spiral pattern, but it doesn't make the elevator spin. Somehow this is where I crossed the line when it comes to gymnantalastics. Rolling up on Mirror Knight signifies the end of Drang Lake Castle. How sad is that? Wait, pause, enhance, slow down. Applause. Mirror Knight saves the day by doing this maneuver while being drenched in rain. I beg thee thanks. 15%.
This is one of those sachet packets that you put in, like, in with the clothing. Because we've been eating those all game too. This is a family pack version. This...
Ah, yes. Just below that boss fight is a spiral staircase. This is a subtle reference to the downward spiral that is my sanity. Have you learned nothing? Every wash cycle must come to an end. Thus, this one must also come to an end, seeing as there is a pool of heated water at the bottom. What exactly am I reviewing anymore? 40%. Why I'm reviewing this monstrosity, the Seaman of Dong. It's a bit like Covetous Demon, except this one has a disorganized attachment disorder, making it hide inside of its own foreskin. Sure, you may believe that the water function is this shallow pool, and in one way it might be. No. Behold the spout, it spurts, and is generally just a good friend. If this had a grab attack, I hope it puts me in its mouth and squishes me between its soft yet hard esophageal walls. How horrible would that be? 45%.
Anything that's circular, at this point, fires entirely the wrong neurons. Even in real life, whenever I see a circular object, I'm like, how can I construe this to be a washing machine?
The intelligent among you will be able to predict where exactly the next one lies in wait. This is training, to further detach yourself and strengthen your resolve for when you are attacked by a washing machine in real life. That's correct. Veltat's spinny bell, attack, celebration. Veltat's spinny bell autism declaration is this week's washing machine, yes. The power of humanity flows strongly in his bell. The properties of dark being, in my mind, gelatinous and lukewarm. Perchance soapy. Piss all room inside the thing, but damn son, will you have one clean-ass sock. As for heat, Veltat needs only a fire beat to lay down. And who is he defending after that? The king of everything, who is in an eternal state of spin, and has put his clothing aside since none of it fits inside the bell. And what does that man give me? A ring. A circle. I think I might be losing it. 65%.
This is food coloring for when you're sick of having clothes that are like varied in color, when it's one of those days.
Please don't send me death threats over this, but I accidentally destroyed the next entry I filmed for ages, getting every single angle of what used to be a sublime boning wagon. The reason I destroyed it was because I wanted a comedic occurrence at the end of the clip. The very least I can do is to show you the gateway to the estate, which uses a ring to open this rotating mechanism. No, never mind, here's another shaggin' wagon. Never before seen footage of a washing machine mid-cycle is what this is. I suffer from object impermanence, meaning I'm yet to figure out what exactly is going on inside a washing machine. But the camera tells me nothing when colonoscopized. You're telling me that I put my clothes in something, close the door, and suddenly this illustrious object appears and starts gyrating and groaning, and a little while later the original object appears with my clothes in it. Oh, the review. Look no further than these wheels. Yes, %. Yeah, check out these vases. They're the Anorondo industrial standard toilet. I would have gone on to describe the antics of Dragon Eyrie, but there was nothing of note. This boss flies around, but not in circles. These dragons vaguely fly back and forth, but not in circles. The player character runs from island to island, but not in circles. Next.
All of these things, these are stones that you collect on the beach and then forget in your pocket, and then you put that pair of pants in the washing machine, and then you've created a fucking noise bomb. Starts walking, starts trying to escape. That's the actual term, I think. Walking, I mean, not... washing machine escaping is not the actual term.
Okay, I said before that Forest of Fallen Giants had very little to show. That's because it didn't. Using the King's Willy Ring allows us to turn time into a flat circle and go see the giant Gourd who we fought earlier. And fight them now, meaning we already beat them long ago in the future, but that is not why we are here. This, head, does the unthinkable! Giant invaders, hate this one simple trick, Don't go losing your mind over this, buddy. It's making my head spin. Looks like you've a lot in your mind. Or your mind is on a lot, pal. Is your head screwed on tight enough there, boyo? An out-of-body experience, huh? Oh brother, you better clear that head of yours. No, he really should, because that has docked marks off of his capacity ranking. Tough luck, 40%.
Circular objects, yet again, they're all spinning. Roll them around, these are all washing machines, why not? Especially this one, because it's got a very nice porthole. Yeah, this one too.
A day in the life of me. Wake up. Immediately ask, what the fuck? Exit doorway, followed by opening the door, then closing it. Dissociate until coming across this cuboid in the kitchen. Upon first assessment, it does look like it has potential. It's smooth all across its surface, and I can't discern any cool looking mechanisms other than this rope coming out the back that makes the lights come on. It splits in half when I fuck with it, and I cry, because I'm morally against murder, since it goes against the ancient Qing dynasty concept of being alive. Sorry, Copernicus. Fiddling with it a bit more shows me that I can rotate it back and forth slightly, but that isn't spin. That's oscillation. As for capacity, I can't even fit myself inside, and I don't feel like putting myself in such danger anyway. Overall, 5%. Very poor.
This has been gleaned from the washing process, that's for me to use later.
Nocron 1.0 at first didn't have a lot to offer me. Ironically, it's called the Eternal Sanctum because Elden Ring is really just Dark Souls 2 2. Real ones know what I mean. Upon sleeping upon it, I came upon the right words to vomit upon DLC 1. These pillars rotate. They make these pillars emerge where you can put your stuff inside. At the bottom of the level is this giant pool with reworked demon bots from Izalith. This is a cave, so this water has to be soapy as fuck. Sadly, I already went through the entire level without recording it since I folded early, but this Dragonstone tablet thing spins as it sinks into the DVD player, I promise you. Also, the penultimate boss has skeletons, but that's plagiarization of a prior contestant. At the top of the level is Cave of the Dead. I really wasn't sure how I could apply my terrible reasoning, but eventually, right as I was falling asleep, it came on me. The cycle of insanity may very well be the purest essence of spin. Then there's this spinny door. The whole point of a door is to put stuff inside it, depending on which side is inside or outside. In the end, all they are mouths that we have convinced ourselves are okay to be eaten by. Fuck it. All of this gets 30% plus or minus I'm scared.
That's straight up a detergent sachet. It looks like one. It looks so fucking tasty.
Broom Tower is, like usual, the flawless diamond on the diamond-tipped buzzsaw that is this game. Because a saw spins. The entire building, from top to bottom, is connected to the same gear transmission. The entire tower spins. Unbelievable. Now my argument can be applied to literally everything inside or outside. All these chains connected to the system. Every centrifuge, heat source, all the magma, because there's no water, this laundromat, everything. This, whatever this is, the starter dial, why not, with the power of Queen Nadalia's red hot peg, activates the entire structure and gets it all moving. Gets it spinning. 85%. Oh, but I'm not done. Remember that bonus function I mentioned a while back that I'd never use again? You might wonder why I gave it a water ranking, and that's because there definitely is a tiny amount. I'm certain you could gather moisture through chemical reactions, such as with any rudimentary combustion device, because they all produce water. Let me tell you, the whole building is combusting my nuts. Now consider the heat, the dryness of the ash, and the extreme wind. You have the perfect environment for, yes, a dryer. A tumble dryer, perhaps. Now let's see Paul Allen's ranking. 105%. Holy mother of fuck! All of DLC 2 is, as of right now, a washing machine, as usual. You thought I was done? Okay, I am with the last one. But remember Smelter Demon? I mentioned there that it was unfortunately a dryer, that it needed water. Booyah! Red equals fire, blue equals water. The room is even circular. You wrap your clothes around the sword and Demelter Seaman sticks it on for a thorough 60-degree cycle. Celsius, that is. 70%.
And this is just straight up softener. Fabric softener, because I haven't been drinking much of that. Doesn't taste very good.
These funny little Sanic. You already know the drill. They even do it semi-autonomously. $20. Hold on, before we move on, check out this funny-ass shadow. This always tickled my nuts whenever I did this DLC. Phone the hold. This is inconceivable. The spin is off the fucking charts. It's so vast that I can't even see where it begins. This very well could be the induction zone of the tectonic process beneath the crust, the convection of the liquid matter that creates the polarization of our magnetosphere, which is influenced by the rotation of our very planet, that rotation being influenced by its own orbit around our sun, which also spins. This sun rotates around the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy. That galaxy is part of the local group, and while that may not necessarily be rotating, I unsubstantially declare that the universe itself spins. And that comes full circle, if you will, as an atom that rotates and is orbited by an electron. Unknown %. Thank you all for watching. I do appreciate it. Let us give a round of applause for my patrons as of the making of this video. Aiden Edmonds, Anibal Prieto Amanabar, Azur Threto, Cerulean Mimic, Chud Daughter Mechanic, Demiurge, Fur Lord, Contio 1MK, Lenzo the Accursed One, Mavolander, Piggy, T-Char, and The Cure for Life 1. If you want me to scam you, go right ahead and give me your burger money. The only benefit is that I spare your life and you get to see some top secret material, and maybe appear in the next video. I know I usually hold rigged elections, but I promise the video after next will have one. And the one after that, maybe. Speaking of, it'll be Fire Giant next month. I know Scumnut and Toto already did this, but like, while Scumnut only got to Stormveil, Toto beat the whole fucking game. But Fire Giant is my absolute favorite boss in the series for all the wrong reasons, and the Attack on Titan theme is just too perfect to pass up. So yes, I'm still doing it, but I'll put the old Swalo spin on it. Ciao, bitches.